out. That was amazing.
That was amazing. So let me ask you, what do you think of the Civil War?
I think I missed that day of history class.
All right, so I'm going to just sit back and just tell everybody about the last 4 years.
I know, I was looking at that video. Was it that long ago?
It was about that, and I remember, you know, obviously from the clip, you were talking about, I don't know what's going to happen.
I might open a restaurant.
And if I do, I don't know if it's going to succeed. So just kind of take me through, if you can, not just the nuts and bolts, but what were you feeling after you won Top Chef? And there's expectations that come with it, but then there's also this idea that, hey, you were on a reality show and you did great and it's a great reality show, but there's many people who do that and then we never hear from again. So how did it happen? How did it become?
Wow, there's a lot of people here tonight. Just going to look at you.
Dude, that's fine.
Actually, I mean, the last 4.5 years I think have been a little bit of a blur. It's been sort of this weird roller coaster ride that I'm on. Girl and the Goat has been amazing. I have an amazing staff there. We just opened another restaurant a month ago, which I was like, wow, that was brilliant. Yeah. It's open for 20 hours a day.
Well, I mean, you have to. If you can't have a diner open from 2 to 5.
That's true. Well, that's my point. Yeah, it had to be open 24 hours a day would have been good, but it would have been really dirty. You need a few hours to clean the restaurant, is what we learned. But yeah, the past few years, I mean, I think that going on a show like that, you can take it for what you want. You know, you can go on and get off and just want. That sounded terrible. You can just go on the show and go out and just try to promote things and just try to turn into maybe a famous chef that's just on TV and doing things like that. And I wanted to take it and come back to Chicago and open restaurants and do what I love doing, which is cooking, or, you know, hanging out with people in the kitchen. And I get to cook all the time. I've hired people that do all the paperwork so that I don't have to do that, so I can spend my time cooking. And
that said, I would imagine, and when we talk to chefs, I'm always kind of curious because obviously your main love is cooking, but it seems that the thing that makes a chef ultimately succeed is, yes, having a good partner, but also being able to kind of have a vision and be on top of everything. So when you have 2 restaurants, and there's also the adjunct restaurant at Little Goat, Little Goat Bread, are you able to say everybody is taking care of what they're doing, or do you have to be thinking, I hope they're serving the muffin right, I hope they're making the coffee correctly, I hope blah, blah, blah?
I hope they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing right now.
That's true. It is a Friday night. You didn't close for the show? Just
no, and after this I'm in the middle of cooking for a private party tonight. Don't tell those people that I'm here right now. Because one of my...
We want to meet Stephanie. Oh, she's in the bathroom.
She'll be right out. She has a tummy ache today. I think that you just have to hire people that you trust. And it's taken a long time. I had my first restaurant, God, how long? 9 years ago, and I didn't trust anyone, so I did everything myself, from the books to hiring, firing, hosting, all those things.
And it was a huge failure. No,
yeah, it was. It's closed.
But it was okay. So let me ask you a question. That restaurant was the food critics, they loved it. It was a good restaurant, and yet the restaurant business is obviously super hard, especially in a city where there's, I don't know how many restaurants opening every weekend, but there are restaurants opening every weekend. So how much did that experience, and how much did you think a certain amount of, not just celebrity from Top Chef, but a certain know-how that you got from playing in that arena affect what you did this next time around?
I mean, I think with Scylla, I like to think that just the fact that you couldn't pronounce the name right was part of it. Scylla, bad name for a restaurant. We did really well. It was just I was 27 when I opened, had no idea what I was doing. I had to read a manual on how to write a business plan just to get it open, and I'm not sure why the bank gave me money, but it was a great learning experience. And I didn't learn anything on Top Chef about running a restaurant or how to succeed in any way, to be honest. It's a fun show to go on, and it's like being on a game show, and I think that maybe the pressure from it is helpful, but at the end of the day, it's just real life is much different than that. And it's just finding the right people to work with. My partners are awesome. And I think that trying to do it all yourself just didn't work that well. And now that I have Kevin and Rob, my partners, they're very cool. They look much cooler than me, too. They don't wear goat sweatshirts. They wear really nice, Hugo Boss things.
Can you tell me about the goat thing? Did the goat happen because you like the way Girl and the Goat sounded, or did you really just like goat meat?
Girl and goat are easy to pronounce words.
Well, it's good. But you had a problem with it. Didn't somebody want to sue you?
Oh, yeah. Well, goat is actually my last name is a type of goat in French. Izard is a mountain goat that lives in the Pyrenees Mountains. That's my fun
Everybody
fact
knew
of the
that.
day.
Everybody knew that.
I just learned that cashmere comes from goats, okay? I don't know that much. I'm not that smart sometimes.
You don't serve cashmere, do you? No.
No, I got a sweater on discount. I was so excited to find out it was goat. So my last name is Type of Goat, and we originally were going to be called the Drunken Goat because, the first time I was here, I'd had quite a few beers. That was how I was. And the cheese lady that owns the Drunken Goat cheese, which is a really tasty cheese, I have nothing negative to say about it, but she wanted to sue us for the name. And then Girl and the Goat, there's a restaurant called Girl and the Fig, and she wanted to sue us as well.
Different
a beautiful
woman.
restaurant out in Sonoma County, but figs and goats are not the same.
And many people are girls. Half the population.
There are many girls,
Yeah.
right? So we ended up winning that fight, which was good. And we got Girl on the Goat. Sometimes we get deliveries for Girl on the Goat, which could have been an alternative. But
That could be a spin-off.
it could be a spin-off. I mean, Little Goat, next Girl on the Goat. We have so many opportunities.
So then there's Little Goat now, and that's a diner, and just break down, because we live in Chicago and we get the Golden Nugget. So break down the diners that you know, that you love. I'm from Boston. There were diners there, but Jersey, that area, that's where the diners are
Yeah,
at.
I grew up in, Connecticut, but more so the diners in New York is what I was thinking of. We were walking around New York before we opened, and you look at the menus, and there's like 150 things on the menu, and you can get, I was talking to someone today, they're like, yeah, you can get pot roast at 7 a.m., and I was like, exactly. At this point. So you can't get pot roast at ours, but we have everything. There's 75 menu items, which turns out when you don't make everything out of a can, like I'm sure a lot of diners might,
Sure.
it's a lot of stuff to prep.
Well, you have, for example, a smoked pork, I think it's smoked pork, milkshake, which at a normal diner would only happen if the one waitress with a pork chop and another waitress with
smoking.
a milkshake collided.
I'm just picturing an old waitress like smoking. She's like, here you go.
Have you ever thought there was actually a review in the Tribune that was very effusive about Little Goat, but they said the waitresses and the waiters are all young? Did you ever think about just hiring or putting on wigs on the staff?
I think what we should do is maybe next Halloween we'll all dress up like we are those like scraggly old ladies.
You gotta
and
do
like,
that.
Oh yes, I'm so excited. That's my new idea for the day. But yeah, we wanted really friendly people. I know that diners maybe have that. It's charming, or it can be, but I don't think reviewers will love it if our servers are rude.
Yeah, you don't want to be Ed DeBevics. I mean, that's not
right.
Your... there was a diner in Evanston. It's now a Cozy. Home of the Squaggle.
We need Squaggle.
Fuck the Squaggle. Oh, my son's here. Anyways, they had a waitress who was very ornery, and I remember a friend was with me at the table, and he said, I'd like some eggs, and she said, how would you like them? And he said, poached, and she said, we don't poach after 11.
I just want to get a T-shirt that says, fuck poached eggs.
Oh, you're not.
No, we do poached eggs. We do.
What's why would a diner not poach after 11, and why would you be against poached eggs?
Truly,
that's a two-part question.
Do you poach a lot of eggs? Poaching eggs, the fun of it. It'd be fun if someone could invent, and maybe I should work on this, some sort of whirlpool thing that removes the egg bits from it, so you could just have a continuous, clean poaching liquid type thing.
Okay.
For us, we take after 11, we take our poaching liquid and turn that pot into our pasta pot. So when people get poached eggs after 11, it's challenging, but we still do it.
So there's a legitimate reason. It's a pot issue.
It's a pot issue.
I got you. If you were to go into Little Goat, and many people will, what would you say to stay away from that?
Ouch. I'm like, I don't know. Well, let's say poached eggs.
I want to segue.
Now I'm thinking through the whole menu. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. What wouldn't you get?
Well, what would you recommend? That's a much nicer, sweeter question.
That is nicer.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, what do you like on the menu, Stephanie?
We have this one thing actually that I like. It's called the kimchi and bacon and Asian style crunchy eggy yummy pancake thing or something like that. I'm not sure what I put on the menu because I couldn't decide what to call it.
Do you have a beef eater?
A beef eater?
Yeah, isn't that a standard diner thing?
We don't have a beef. We tried to have we do have a thing, the horseshoe from Springfield. We tried to have a couple of like just classic things you get at a diner. Is anybody from Springfield? Yeah. My partner Kevin's from Springfield, and we went down there, and they just have these massive piles of, it's like there's a piece of bread hiding on the bottom for some reason, I'm not sure why. And then you have a burger and chili and fries and cheese sauce and whatever else you want to put on it. We have that. It's sick.
What's it called?
The horseshoe.
The horseshoe.
One of my cooks came in today, and he's like, you should put on the menu that this is for 2 people. I was like, did you read the description? It's like chili cheese fries on top of a burger.
Can I ask you about bread? You just mentioned bread, and you have the bread offshoot of the diner, and at Girl and the Goat, you can get nice bread. So many times you go to restaurants now, and I like when you get that basket with the bread, and they got the little sesame sticks, and then the saltines.
You like sesame sticks?
Yeah, just I like the bread. But nowadays it seems, for whatever reason, that nice restaurants, they want you to stay far away from the bread. If you ask for bread, they'll maybe bring it, but they might have to go to Dominic's or something.
They might accidentally forget about it until you get your entrees.
Well, you seem not anti-bread. Why are you not anti-bread, and what's wrong with everybody else? That's another two-parter.
Bread is delicious. We love bread. I love bread, but my pet peeve is going to a restaurant where they just give you bread as something that they're not thinking. It's an afterthought, where it's this cold bread from 5 days ago with hard butter that you can't spread on it, and I'll still eat it.
Yeah, I don't mind that either.
But then I'm mad that I wasted my stomach's space and my calories on that bread. I'd much rather have some nice warm bread with some different spreads and things like that was fresh baked that day.
You'd rather have something that's good as opposed to something that's bad.
Fundamentals. These are things I've learned.
But why don't restaurants do that? Why are you one of the few restaurants that say, we're proud of our bread and we're going to give you our bread?
That's a very good question.
Yeah. I woke up at 4:30 this morning, and I've had a few beers before the show.
I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I need another beer, though.
You have Lagunitas at Girl and the Goat. I think one.
We love
pills.
Lagunitas.
Yeah.
Since I have to go back to work, I'll probably only have a couple more before I go back. But it's a surprise party tonight, so they definitely can't find out about this. But yeah, bread. I think we have Greg Wade as our head baker, and he makes amazing breads. And our new thing is, is anybody gluten-free here while we're talking about bread? We've been working on all this new gluten-free stuff. I didn't make. One of my people made a gluten-free muffin today that was amazing. So it's interesting when you start thinking about bread, then you have to start thinking about the not bread as well.
The bread and the not.
On that.
But I'm fine with the not bread, the gluten-free bread, but it's just the absence of bread that is problematic. Okay, so let's naturally segue into your private life.
My fiance is right back there. Raise your hand.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. You're getting married. Talk about that. Have you picked out the napkins, the caterer, all that stuff?
We have a little things still to work out, but we are getting married in October.
You mean wedding things, not issues in the relationship.
Right, no. We've worked all that out, I think, so far. We're getting married in October. We've got a space. We were just looking at really cool tuxedos online. I think Gary's picked out which one did you pick out? Oh, the camouflage one. That was pretty sweet. You can look on his Twitter for that one.
A camouflage like an army one, or to camouflage you within the wedding scenario?
A little of both. It's like we like that duck hunting show. So, and we're working on, the saddest news we got recently is that our puppy Bert, who's going to walk down the aisle, we need his tuxedo too, but we just found out that he's 3 pounds overweight. Our doctor informed us. So we need to stop feeding him so much pasta.
And bread.
He really likes pasta and bread and chicken. But Bert's awesome. Gary asked me to mention Bert, so I wish I could flash a picture of him up on this.
Any other topics that he wants to mention?
Gary.
And then you are a swimmer. Is there a competitive side to you?
Not at all.
You were in Top Chef. That's obviously a strict, straight-up competition. Swimming, it seems like if you're in a race, that would be you want to beat the other person. What about just in terms of running a restaurant? Is there a competition in that? And like, I want to take out Avec.
Take out the neighbors. I would say I am a very competitive person. Growing up swimming, I get upset just playing board games. I really like to win things. Losing Top Chef would not have been the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Which is why when they asked me to go back on Masters, I was like, no. What if I lose?
Yeah, you're done. You did it. You're done.
I'm done. But as far as the restaurants, in all honesty, the competition is more so with. This is going to sound deep and like I'm making this up, but just with myself and just trying to do the best I can, but not with our neighbors. Randolph Street has all these new restaurants opening now, and it's cool. When you go down there on a Friday night right now and I go back, there's hustle and bustle and people all over the street going to all the different restaurants. And honestly, I think we just support each other and the competition's gone.
As a chef, could you walk into Grace and say, I'd like that $700 meal free?
Are you trying to start a fight with me and Curtis Duffy?
No, I
to
like
see
it.
the
Curtis has been on the
competition?
show. He's a great guy. I'm just wondering what the sense of camaraderie is, and then for him it might be like, all right, yeah, thanks for letting me go to the diner
I know,
for a
he's like, "Thanks for
$15
the-"
hamburger.
Yeah, I know. I do think about that though when I go to another restaurant, and everybody. Sometimes there's some free things that go out, and we all try to give each other different things to try. I think it's more so that you want other chefs to try all your food, not necessarily giving freebies or whatever. But yeah, it would seem a little bit less than fair. We'll see. I got together the other night though, and he gave out some really tasty bites, but they were all about this big. So we tried to snag a couple while I wasn't looking, and then we went out to La Serena afterwards, which was delicious.
Nice. Well, last question. How does one get into Girl and the Goat at a reasonable hour? Like, I tried to make a reservation. They're like, we can take you at 3. The restaurant's not open and nobody will be there, but we'll leave some food outside for you.
That's why we open Little Goat, because it's open 20 hours a day, I guess.
Sure. What about, like, let's say you were the Emperor of Japan? Could you get a table at Girl and the Goat the day of?
Actually, you know what? If you just tweet me, I always say just email me a funny joke. And I always get everybody with a funny joke reservation. They're not usually that funny, to be honest. Sorry if any of you have sent me a joke, but at least they entertained me for a little bit.
I like that. Well, I know you got to get back to a party. Have a few more drinks beforehand.
Thank you.
Stephanie Izard, everyone.
Thank you.